talk is money, honey. All we talk is money. All we talk is money. It's like bees to the honey. Honey, money, honey, money, honey. It's the SOSCAST, baby.
Round of applause, amazing. Thank you guys out there for the pseudo round of applause that we have here on the SOSCAST today. Welcome to the SOSCAST, only on Valuetainment. I'm Adam Sosnick. Explosive episode today. There were allegations going on out there, but now we've seen things that can't be unseen. Diddy.
Damn.
Did Diddy do it?
Yes.
Yeah, he did something.
Yeah.
So we're going to cover a lot of that in today's episode, but it'll bleed into other conversations. Everything with Diddy. Diddy's disgusted, not as disgusted as the $30 million that Cassie received. I'm sure he's disgusted about that. You know, is he disgusted in himself, or is he disgusted that he got caught? We'll have that conversation today. Diddy being a monster, a savage, we'll have that conversation. Is Diddy a Fed? Kanye claims that Diddy's a Fed. Is he working with the Feds? Candace Owens, you've done content with Candace Owens before. Yeah. We all have. Well, not we all have. We have. One day, guys. One day. But you got Rob Smith in the house. Diddy spotted in Miami reacts to what's going on. The LA District Attorney, he's got some things to say. Diddy's Cassie's husband had things to say. J-Lo had some comments resurface. I know you've had some strong feelings about this.
Yes.
Dina knows some things or two. But today's not all about Diddy. There's a football player who kicks field goals and extra points and he wins Super Bowls, who's making speeches. He was the kicker for the Kansas City Chiefs, if you know who he is. Harrison Butker, he had a speech go around the world. Are you familiar with this? If not, we're going to play it for you. Amy says he's based. Shout out to Amy, she's watching the show today. But his wife had some things to say. Famous coaches had things to say. Liberals had things to say. But then NFL fans had some things to say. Jerry Springer's show revived in Congress this past week. I'm not sure if you saw what's going on out there. AOC, MTG, racism, bleach blonde, eyelashes.
Baby girl.
Catfighting, baby girl. Show me what's up.
Bad built, bleach blonde butch body, right?
This is actually a little surprise. I saw this last minute. A friend of the show who's been on the show, she went viral this week for some comments that she had her campaign message running like David Goggins. Her campaign is, America, don't be weak and gay. We'll talk about that. I don't know if you know who that is. We'll talk about that. Has the military gone woke? We've got expert Rob Smith to weigh in on all that. And then, of course, stay tuned for the happy ending. And we won't reveal that surprise right now. But amazing show, explosive show. They say don't bury the lead, so we're going to give you our number one guest up front. Rob Smith's in the house. You can't cancel Rob.
You cannot cancel. You cannot cancel me.
He canceled his pants for this episode. He said, screw it. I came from Miami, came from the date club.
You know.
I'm out here.
The tenants have been treating me well. Yes, you cannot cancel me. My podcast is Can't Cancel Rob Smith. You can find it on Apple Podcast, iHeart Podcast, wherever you get your podcasts, and right here on YouTube at youtube.com/@Can'tCancelRobSmith. Look it up, and you're going to get into all of the reasons why I can't be canceled and why I have so many cancelable opinions.
Cancel culture tried to cancel him. He said, hold my beer. I'll be back over here. You've seen him on TV. You've been on Fox. You've been on Legacy Media. You've been all over podcasts.
I'm everywhere. I'm Fox. I've been done Fox, done Newsmax, done Candace's show, done the PBD podcast.
That's right.
I'm on SOSCAST.
Let's go.
The Unusual Suspects. I'm everywhere. You know,
Can't cancel Rob, and he's ready to talk about anything. By the way, one shout out to Rob. Checks a lot of boxes, but you can't put him in a box. You know,
I like that.
There it is. You can use it.
Yes, it is.
You can't. Is Rob this? Is Rob that? I don't know. He's conservative. He's a veteran. He was in Iraq. He wrote a book. What was the book you wrote? The Confessions?
The book is called Always a Soldier, Service, Sacrifice, coming out as America's favorite black gay Republican. So that has been out there for quite some time. Look, I'm a black guy. I'm a gay guy. I'm not liberal. I'm not as far right as someone on the right would like me to be, but I would also consider myself conservative. I just have a lot of thoughts, and I've been, the right and the left has tried to cancel me, but I'm literally when the world ends, it's going to be me, Madonna, and the cockroach. You can't get rid of me.
Rob, Rob, you know they
I
say
love
people on the
that.
left are attacking you and people on the right are attacking you. You're doing something right.
Something's right. Like
Yeah.
you're over the target. If everybody hates you, if everybody is
Yeah.
against you, you're over the target in some way. So that's where I like to live.
I'll give you one piece of information. Not that you need it from me, but I'll give it to you. You ever see the Howard Stern show?
Yes.
Not the Howard Stern show, but the Howard Stern movie, Private Parts.
I have not seen
Oh,
that.
go! Rob, can't cancel Rob. Here we go.
No, I guess we'll
So they
cancel them
came
out.
into Howard Stern and they said, Howard, we got some information for you. We figured out who your viewers are, your demo. Are you ready for it? He's like, all right, give it to me. Now, the people that love you, they listen for an hour. The most common reason they want to hear what you're going to say next. But the people that hate you, they listen for an hour and a half. The most common reason, they want to see what you're going to say next.
Here's the
Can't
thing.
cancel Rob.
I've always thought the opposite of love isn't hate. It's actually indifference.
Ooh.
The opposite of love is not hate. It's indifference. People will love me or they will hate me, but they will have an opinion about me. All right.
There it is.
And so for me, the way I've always managed my media career, my podcast, Can't Cancel Rob Smith, is that I don't want you to know what I'm going to say before I open my mouth. There are some people in media, there's some media figures where we know exactly where they're going to go. We know exactly what they're going to say before they open their mouth. And that's great. You can build a very large fan base over that. I sometimes kind of piss everybody off, but the core problematics will always be there and always kind of, go on the journey with me.
Well, you were an Army veteran. I was a comedian.
Yes.
And there's both things that we can understand is the element of surprise and
Yeah.
misdirection.
Yeah.
So if you go and watch, you know this, Dina, you're a comedian.
Yep.
If you go and watch any of the late night shows, whether it's Kimmel, whether it's Fallon, whether it's Colbert, and they're like, Donald Trump in the news this week, you know where the joke is headed. You know they're going to be like, and he fell down. Like, they're always going to rag on just, there's zero misdirection. So if you don't know what someone's going to say next, you kind of keep them guessing. And to kind of put a ribbon on this, the best thing you can be in life is beloved. Very loved. The second best thing is hated. The third best in the rule of three is nobody knows your name. What'd you call it?
What's that?
You said
indifference.
Indifferent.
Yeah.
I don't even know who that is.
The only
Who's Rob
thing-
Smith? I don't know.
Literally, the only thing worse than being talked about is not being talked about.
Exactly.
There
There it is. So now we're talking
Very
about can't
true.
cancel Rob Smith in
Yeah,
the
yeah,
house.
yeah.
Can't put baby in a corner. Can't put Rob Smith in a box. Bang. Here we go. Now we have some lovely ladies we'll get to. Dina's in the house.
What's up, guys?
So, Dina,
What's up?
comedian,
Yes.
mother,
Yes.
advocate
Yes.
for.
Life.
That's right. Advocate for life. That's right. Dina Cruz in la casa.
Yes, sir.
Friend of the show. This
Yes,
is
sir.
probably like your fifth time being here.
I have no idea. I lost
I'm
count.
counting, Nat's
I'm
counting.
happy to be here, though.
Yes.
Okay. Another friend of the show, Maria Prieto en la casa.
Hello.
Colombiana.
Yes.
Muy bonita. She's a fitness girl. She's a social media girl. She's an entrepreneur. And she said, say my name, Destiny's Child, say my full name. Tell the people my Venmo, tell the people everything where they can find me.
Yeah.
So you can Venmo Maria at Maria Wants Your Money ASAP.
Put her QR
.com.
codes down
The
here.
QR
You got to
code.
put her QR codes here.
There it
Like
is.
Cash
Get it right
App,
there.
Venmo.
And the lady that only goes by one name, she said, don't say my full name. I'm doing the Madonna, the Cher thing. Zainab, the Pakistani princess. Did I get that right?
You did.
Traditional
Nailed it.
culture. It's good. We've got some Latinas. We got a black guy. We got a Pakistani Muslim.
Yes.
That's right. We got a beautiful brown mutt going on over here. We got a Jewish guy. Natalia Del Valle, La Casa, freaking
Yes.
Natty with a batty with a fatty. If you want to sit around, Natalia's in the house.
Yes,
is what I'm trying
Natalia's
to say.
in
You
the
know her, you
house.
love her, you want her.
Yes.
She's sold out. Onlytoes.com. She has no toes left.
That's not true.
And
That's not true. But happy SOSCAST Day, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. Today's going to be a very fun episode. I think it's going to be an episode where we really kind of get to dive into some of these topics. I'm
Oh,
super
yeah.
excited. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, comment, share. And then, of course, give us some super chats. We had some super chats last show, which was great. We got to talk to some of you guys. Give us some of your chats today. I want to actually see what your opinions are for the topics we covered today, just based on what we're going to talk about. So give us those chats. We'll be reading them. And let's get this party started.
First super chat that I want to hear your feedback on. We'll read it out loud. Is Diddy's career done? That's what we'll get to
That's
in a
a
second.
good one.
Is he just completely done? We'll see what happens with that. Let us know in the comments. Nat's going to be reading them. Last but not least, Alejandra in la casa. Our pretty little Venezuela.
Hello, everybody.
Hello, let's get her mic working.
She's so cute.
But she's going to be out there doing her thing. By the way, if you want to connect with me, if you want to connect with PBD, connect with the home team, you can find us on Manect. We're answering your questions. We're responding to your business inquiries, coaching you with life. Vinny's doing a great job. I think 1 year sober of helping you guys get sober. I'm 30 days.
Yes, you are.
Oh, really?
I've been watching him.
Of no bad stuff. I didn't have a drinking problem like Vinny, but let's not get into that. But
Yeah.
I'm just doing 75 hard right now.
Oh, something
I'm trying to behave.
Nice.
He's doing good. I'm
I'm,
keeping
um,
him accountable, so he's
That's
doing very
good.
good.
That's
I'm over a
amazing.
year alcohol free. I
Really?
didn't have a problem. I just decided to step away from it. I probably will be having a glass of champagne or two.
But
you
you're
know, over
1
the next
year
couple
alcohol
weeks.
free.
Over 1 year.
And how's it
Probably
feel?
about 13 months.
Wow.
So here's the thing. I feel amazing. It's gotten rid of a lot of the cloudiness and all that other stuff. I don't think that there's like some magic. I think it's because I wasn't an alcoholic. Your life just like the streets don't become paved with gold all of a sudden, and you just become like I don't know, like Gandhi or something like that. But it's been a very amazing experience knowing how to navigate life completely substance free.
Yeah.
You
You're
know,
just out there raw dogging
yeah,
life.
just out there. And
Raw dogging
it's
life.
raw dogging life. And let me tell you, like it's been a nutty year. Like if you follow Rob Smith,
Yeah.
you know, and you know what Rob Smith has been going through this year and all that stuff. It's been a wild year, and I've dealt with it completely
Present.
Yeah.
present.
Love that.
Awesome
what's
for you. Congratulations.
Yeah, that's dope.
I never had a drinking problem, but I'm a social creature. I'm out and about in Miami.
Yes.
I have a bar in Miami. My friends have a bar in Miami. It's so easy to be like, hey, have a drink. Sure, sure, sure. Next thing you know, 3-4 drinks on a night. And then you're like, what the hell did I? But
what?
I never drink them. So now I go out. I'm just rocking raw dog and water
Yes.
wherever I go.
Good deal.
and
I
there we
tried
go.
75 hard. It didn't work out for me.
Yeah? No?
Yeah, I
Well,
decided
the key to 75 hard is if you miss a day, don't be too hard on yourself and just keep it going. Like,
I thought you had to start over.
no,
Yeah,
not me.
that's the
Not me.
rule.
Oh, okay.
Not me.
kind of the
Make my own
rule.
rules.
You must be doing
That's
some
not-
other
Can't cancel
version of
sauce. Do
75
show
hard.
for
Okay, got it.
He's in
Got it.
volume
Adam's
two.
doing the 75 soft.
75 soft.
75 moderate, like a moderate.
75 moderate.
So-
Got it.
He's good though.
Guys, thank you guys for being here. Rob, thank you for being here. And let's get ready to start this show. Let's do it. So,
Yep.
Diddy, unbelievable. The video that we saw this week. You know, there's been allegations, there's been stories. We saw the FBI raid. You know, Cassie sued him for $30 million earlier this year. Oh my God, they settled in less than 24 hours. It was crazy. He's out there denying everything. He's making public statements. He's doing these videos. We showed the video. He's like, you know, in prayer and all this. And then bang, CNN. Who would have thought? CNN being journalists again, going out there, finding this video from the Intercontinental Hotel, which he allegedly paid $50,000 to suppress. They found this video, and once you see this, if you haven't seen it, if you're living under a rock, it's hard to unsee.
Yeah.
You know, so not to make light of this, but literally, Diddy went from making hits to hitting chicks.
Yeah.
And it's a sad, sad downfall. In fact, TMZ is doing an entire expose called The Downfall of Diddy.
I saw
so
it.
you saw it already.
It's on Tubi.
It's on Tubi.
Wow.
I gotta watch that.
So
It's on Tubi.
things are looking grim. But before we really even have this conversation, let's play this video. We'll react, and we'll also react to Diddy's quote-unquote apology video. Let's make sure the volume's up. Thanks, guys. Okay. So, you know, we did a whole episode on the word allegations. Allegedly, so-and-so did this. Allegedly, Diddy did this. Allegedly, Epstein did this. Allegedly, Tate did this. But at what point does it go from allegedly to actually? You know, they say, show us the proof, show us the receipts. Bro, these are receipts right here. It's pretty disgusting. There's also a video of Diddy's response. I want you guys to see his response, and then we're going to have this conversation. But apparently the video that we just saw, he was, quote-unquote, extremely intoxicated. He shoved, kicked, punched, dragged Cassie, which confirmed the allegations that were filed in 2023. She filed a $30 million lawsuit alleging not just this, rape, trafficking during their relationship, which stemmed from 2005 to 2018. It was filed November 16th, 2023, settled November 17th, 2023. 24 hours, $30 million, boom. And we talked about that this video came from the Intercontinental. Guys, but I want you to remember this date because we're going to bring it up earlier. This video is allegedly from March 5th, 2016. So they said it confirmed the predatory behavior. We don't need to discuss this because what are we going to say? It's disgusting. It's horrible. We're all going to agree. There's not going to really be anything to be said. But what I want to do is show Diddy's response, the reaction to the viral video of him beating up Cassie. So here's his response.
It's so difficult to reflect on the darkest times in your life. But sometimes you got to do that. I was fucked up. I mean, I hit rock bottom. But I made no excuses. My behavior on that video is inexcusable. I take full responsibility for my actions in that video. I'm disgusted. I was disgusted then when I did it. I'm disgusted now. I went and I sought out professional help. I had to go into therapy. I'm going to rehab. Had to ask God for his mercy and grace. I'm so sorry. But I'm committed to be a better man each and every day. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I'm truly sorry.
Okay, we saw the video, hard to watch, and then we saw this video. Dina, I want to start with you because
Yes.
when you were here a few months ago, we talked about the first allegations, and you were going back and forth with our friend
said
Mike
I was
Rashid.
crazy.
Everyone said you were crazy. I don't know about everyone, but are you buying this apology?
Absolutely not. It's really funny that you guys would put up his video and the comment right next to it was lyrics from that song Take a Bow. And there's a part that it says, you're not sorry, you're only sorry that you got caught. That's the reality of it. You're not sorry. You're only sorry you got caught. Because if you were truly sorry, you would have never said, oh my God, everybody's lying about me. They just want a payday. They just want a whatever. Right? When it first surfaced and there was no hard proof. Why? Because you thought you had all your bases covered. You know, never would he have ever thought that this video was ever going to see the light of day because he paid for it not to see the light of day. So the last thing he thought after saying what he said on Instagram and settling and everyone saying, oh, he's just settling because of insurance. And I'm an insurance broker, so I know that's why he settled. But he's just settling because of this. He's not guilty. A civil suit is not an admission of guilt. All these things. Well, I mean, it's kind of hard to deny something when it's in your face in a video. You know?
Is there anyone on the panel that is like saying, you know what? You know, everyone deserves a second chance. Does he deserve a second chance? Rob, what do you think?
I don't think so. I mean, I personally have zero tolerance for any of this stuff. And so, you know, I did a podcast episode when the Diddy allegations first came out on Can't Cancel Rob Smith. And some of the stuff that was in that lawsuit that Cassie filed, and the reason that it got settled so quickly is because he never thought that she was going to go to the public, because some of the stuff is crazy. There was stuff about him forcing her to have sex with male escorts while he watched. Weird. There was a horrific story that came out about how he forced her to get breast implants and then had them removed within 24 hours. So it put
Because
her
it
health
didn't
at
come out
risk.
right.
Okay, because he didn't
they
like
didn't
them.
what?
They didn't look right. He didn't like the way they
to
looked.
him, in his mind. So he put her health at risk to get these. So it's a pattern of things, right? And so for me, there is no redemption for a man who we know and we physically see beating a woman on camera like this, right? And I hate to compare it to things, but I think back to the Chris Brown situation and how Chris Brown has been able to build some kind of career, right? He's not as big as he was, but Chris Brown is still big. People like his music, whatever. We never saw the physical altercation between he and Rihanna. We just saw what her face looked like. And then also they were seen together publicly, you know, after that incident. So I think that's a different case.
So here's where I feel like the difference is between Diddy and Chris Brown. Chris Brown was 16 when it happened.
Fair.
We're not talking about a 40-something-year-old grown
Fair,
man
yes.
who not only has these allegations surfaced of him doing this to Cassie, but there's hella rumors out there of what he did to Kim Porter.
And Justin
and
Bieber,
just
allegedly.
well, we're just talking about his
Kim Porter was his
relationships
wife.
right now.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, it's
And
the
she
twins'
came out.
mothers.
What did you see that she
She
said?
came out with a statement saying that like, she understood. I understand what Cassie's going through, and the
No, not Kim
No,
Porter.
no, no,
Kim
no, no.
Porter's
She's
dead.
dead.
You're talking
Kim
Lisa
Porter's
Hunt.
I'm
dead.
talking about the ex.
That's his other son's mom.
Yes.
His son's
Yeah.
mom.
The
No, I'm
twin
talking
mom.
about the mother to the twin girls.
Okay,
no.
so
She died.
let's back up a second. Okay,
Yeah.
so how many baby mamas does he have?
A lot. Yeah.
He has
Two?
2 baby mamas.
Okay.
Did
Plus
Misa
Cassie.
Hilton
Plus
never had
Misa
kids?
Hilton.
Misa
yeah.
is
Yeah.
his baby mama.
Okay,
Then
so
Kim
who was
Porter.
the woman that
Porter.
made a
Then Cassie.
statement?
Again,
Oh,
Cassie never had a kid.
Pumpkin too. 3 baby mamas. You're
yeah,
right.
yeah, yeah. There's
Chance's
another
mom,
one.
yeah.
The Diddy stuff has been going on for quite some time.
These rumors are not
Gotcha.
something that's new. You know what I'm saying?
It's a
Like
pattern.
I
Alejandro,
think-
do you have that Chris Brown video? Speaking of Chris Brown, I just sent that to you. Let us know when you have that. But okay, check this video out.
Audio. Audio.
Guys, it's perfectly okay to use the audio. Start it again.
We know sometimes those relationships get
Okay.
for you,
So this is Diddy on Ellen talking about
Chris Brown.
the
Chris
Chris
Brown,
Brown
Rihanna.
Rihanna situation.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
right for anybody to hit anybody at the end of the day, you know, and I don't think it's right. You know, I think that we all have to be honest with ourselves as adults, and people have been in relationships, you know. We know sometimes those relationships get ugly, you know, and sometimes it doesn't come out into the forefront the way this one has come out. And it's a lot of stones being thrown, and we don't know exactly what's going on. These are 2 young individuals. We need to pray for them, and we need to give certain support, but you don't need to start just saying that you know something that you don't know. You wasn't in that car. I wasn't in that car, and it isn't right for him to put his hands on her or her to put his hands on him, and we don't know what the problem is, but we need to pray for them, and we need to do things to support them, and that's all I want to say about it.
I agree.
So then, look, I'm going to take a weird angle on this. Anyone, so remember in the apology video, he said, you know, I'm seeking help. I pray for God's mercy. I pray for God's grace. Now over here he's saying that we need to pray for them. We need to pray for them. Anyone who just constantly goes right to God, I'm just like a little skeptical of. It's like this is on you, buddy.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I'm not saying that this is a pro God or anti God statement, but
There's no
take on
accountability.
responsibility for yourself. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I would say that any sort of abuse, physical or mental, is unacceptable. And what he did is definitely something we should never tolerate. I do think he should definitely be accountable for his actions. And that apology just looks extremely fake to me. I don't think there's any truth to it. I mean, if he did the work and he is actually reflecting, good for him. But then you should prove it as well. Like, where is the proof? Right now, the only proof we have is him abusing. And
Right.
that's it. We don't see any proof of him like actually getting better
And
or
denying.
reflecting.
Did you see what Diddy's lawyer? I'm sorry, Cassie's lawyer had to say. We can pull that up. She said the following. Nat, if you want to read this.
Yeah. It says a statement from Meredith Fire Talk. It says Combs' most recent statement is more about himself than the many people he has hurt. When Cassie and multiple other women came forward, he denied everything and suggested that his victims were looking for a payday. That he was only compelled to apologize once his repeated denials were proven false shows his pathetic desperation, and no one will be swayed by his disingenuous words.
Maria, when you see the lawyer coming out and saying this, what do your instincts tell you?
I don't know. Like, this topic for me is very hard because my first boyfriend, he physically abused from me, and it's just, as a woman, it's hard to overcome that type of topics. To forgive. I'm Christian, and I'll say that God is the only one who can forgive you and judge you, but $30 million will not change what she's going through or she went through.
What do you think she's going through right now? Because she's remarried with kids at this point, and she's probably, got her payday 6 months ago. It's, I'm assuming, still in her system, but she's moved on. They broke up in, 2018? So, COVID happened. She has kids. She's remarried. We'll discuss that in a second. Was a millionaire already. Now she's got $30 million in the bank. But as someone who's dealt with this before, what do you think is going on in her mind, especially now that this video resurfaced?
It's horrible because I can't imagine having to see yourself again through that situation. Mentally, it is uncomfortable knowing that everybody's talking about you and seeing how someone abused from you. You feel like you're weak. You feel like you're like a clown. Someone is laughing at your face, and there is not money that can fix your insecurities, because somehow it's gonna be super hard to trust in men. You have to seek for help, and it can be many years after, but you're still gonna have insecurities, and the guys that are gonna come to your life, they're gonna pay that price, unfortunately, because trust, self-esteem, all of those things are just broken. And it's just so hard. You have to really attach to God to overcome that.
So, by the way, thank you for sharing the story. And I know that you have some stuff that you want to share, I don't, but feel free, open book here. She's remarried now. She has kids now. She had to trust her husband at some point. They've got 2 young kids. I don't know how long they've been married, but I'm assuming there was the breakup, transition phase. She meets this new guy, which we'll show you in a second. What kind of trust needs to be established to have a new, just normal, loving relationship after something this disgusting?
I will say from my side, it took me a lot of years, like many years, probably like not many, but like 6, 7 years, to slow down my male energy. Because after that, I was independent. Like I'm telling you, I escaped from Colombia. After that, I literally escaped from his house. I was waiting for my documents since I was 13 years old. That happened when I was 20. And literally 5 days after I got my documents from US, I came 15 days after I escaped from his house. And it took me 7 years to slow down my male energy. I see a guy and I was just rough, just whatever I want, whatever I said. I'm independent. You will never say zero submissive, zero empathetic. It takes a lot. It takes a lot of mental effort. And when you get into a discussion, relationships are not perfect. So when you get into a discussion, you need to have empathy so you can solve it. But like for me, in an instance, I was just not empathetic at all. I was just all the time defensive and tried to be like, don't talk to me like that. You never is what I want. I will never stop doing whatever I want in my life for you, never. So that's the type of actions that you start doing.
And what made you kind of stay? You see this type of abuse, and I'm sure it doesn't just happen like randomly. I'm sure it like happens in pieces. So like, what made you stay for so long, and then what made you realize like, hey, this is not it anymore? What was kind of turning points for you?
So I thought he needed love, and I thought, and he also kind of like manipulated me a lot. So I thought he just needed more love and more love. So it's like all the time you're trying to give more love to that person, so that person one day will change for you. But people don't change, people improve.
We had this discussion the other day. Now, okay, listen, we're going to come back to this thing. I don't want, now everyone's crying out here. Rob's crying, the camera guy's crying. Take a second. I'm with you. We're going to actually, I didn't want the first segment to be crime. We're going to get into more of this. But thank you, Maria. Yeah. Just to kind of hone in on this. And believe me, we're coming back to this, so stay tuned, because it's going to be a pretty emotional, triggering episode.
I would just like to add one thing, though.
Yeah. We're not moving on, but go ahead,
With Diddy's apology, that is straight up a narcissistic trait. That is a narcissistic behavior. And I do think he's trying to be the victim now and flip it, and just he's saying that, You
couldn't have teed up where I'm going with this next part real quick. So one of the most famous videos of Diddy is him being a quote-unquote savage, right? So the whole question right now is like, is Diddy a monster? Is Epstein a monster? These people, like, to treat anyone like that is ridiculous. To treat a friend like that, to treat a stranger like that, all right, we've been in fights. Okay, that's one thing. To treat a friend like that, that's another thing. To treat a woman like that, disgusting. Yeah. To treat your woman like that, absolute psychopath.
That you claim to love.
Exactly.
Is that what love is?
So there's a video, speaking of Diddy being a monster or savage, here's a video, probably literally the most famous video of Diddy proclaiming being a savage. And then there's a part 2 to this. Go ahead, play this video. For Bad Boy Records, called can't stop, won't stop. Whatever I want, I get. Remember that mentality.
I can do anything.
I can do anything, right? And then he did a remix. By the way, this was in probably early 2000s. You know, you can tell that because he's wearing a Von Dutch shirt. You know that. But Bad Boy is still coming of age. Biggie had just passed. Now he's kind of the man at the forefront of the label. We all know that if you're a hip hop fan. But look, I always say there's an entrepreneur, there's a hustler. That takes a certain type of mentality. You have to be a savage. What's the song by Megan Thee Stallion? I'm a savage. Bougie?
Classy.
Okay.
Bougie.
Sorry, guys. Not a Megan Thee Stallion
Not
fan.
ratchet.
But there's
Nobody really is.
Exactly. Then you could become a monster. So then there's this part 2. Watch this.
I am the fucking hardest hustler in the world. This is Savage Part 2. Don't tell me about shit. It's 2022 and I'm still a savage. Whatever I want, I get. Whatever I want, I fucking get.
Okay, here's how I interpret this.
need
And this
help.
is where I want to end this. The first one, in the early 2000s, genuinely felt natural.
Yeah.
He was on the phone call, he was doing it, he cut a deal, like that felt natural. I'm not defending or, accusing him of anything. This just felt fake, didn't it?
I don't think it felt fake. I think it's not a surprise to him anymore. You understand what I mean? Like
This is after he's done all this
That's what I'm
wild stuff.
saying. That's what I'm saying. It's not a surprise to him anymore. He feels like he's entitled to be able to
gotten away
behave
with
how I want, to
Yes.
do what I want. I get what I want, however I want it.
And what you're getting at is what we haven't
You
really
know.
dealt with yet, was just this. When you get to an amount of wealth and power and success that Diddy has gotten to, not only do you start thinking that you're God, not only do you start thinking that you can believe and do anything, you start being surrounded by people that are going
Who
to
inebriate that
reinforce
behavior.
that narrative.
Yes.
And not only will you be surrounded by people like that, they will do anything to continue to have access to that wealth and that power. That is what drives these people completely insane. Now, look, I'm a political commentator. I've been around very powerful, very famous political people, congressmen and women, and former presidents, and current, like all that stuff. So I've been around these people. And so the difference between the megalomaniac like Diddy, who is obviously a crazy person who abuses women and abuses all these other people and probably does some crazy stuff that we haven't even heard about yet. The difference between somebody like that gets to that level of wealth and power and somebody else who does not use and abuse their power, their wealth, and their access in that way is some sort of grounding in something, whether it's grounding in God, whatever your God may be, or whatever your religion may be. It's being grounded in something that is not of this world.
Right.
Because when you are grounded in nothing but whatever this culture is, whatever this world is, whatever this world deems as acceptable, the more wealthy and powerful and famous or whatever you get, the more degenerate you will become because there is no level. It's like your dopamine is fried. That's why all these men in Hollywood are bisexual.
Yeah.
They've had all the women, and then they
It's
want
not fun
they
anymore.
want men. They
There's
want
no
something different.
excitement.
It's
There's
not-
no adrenaline. There's no.
Well,
That's
there's
what they're,
no,
and number one, like, I'm just going to say, all these dudes, like, there's been rumors about Diddy for years. People that I personally know that have said these things. All these men in Hollywood are bisexual because they can have any woman that they want to have, so they're bored with it, so then they start messing around with men.
It's like if you have steak and caviar every single day, like
Every
sometimes you're
single
just
day.
like, I just take a hamburger or a hot dog, play on words right
Yeah.
there. But
I said
here's
it.
what I will say. You're absolutely right about the billionaire, about the Messiah complex, about the God complex. When you have the wealth, when you have the power, you have the status, you have the access to everything. Your enablers tell you how great you are. Remember the story about Marcus Aurelius in the book Meditations? He would have a slave walk behind him to constantly remind
Tell him
him as
who
the
he
emperor
was. Yeah.
that, dude, you ain't shit. And that's crazy. And then here's where I want to leave this. Jordan Peterson has a quote, and this is where I was going with that savage thing. Jordan Peterson's quote, he says, for every man out there, listen up. You should be a monster, an absolute monster, and then you should learn how to control it. The problem with Diddy, well, he was a monster, he was an absolute monster, and that's fine, but he never learned how to control it. And now we have the downfall of Diddy.
And that is why, according to many religions, money and power is a test.
Ooh.
Yeah.
And of course, like anyone who has money or power, they can use it, they can manipulate people, and they can abuse it.
Okay, next topic right here. Money, power, status, success, God complex. all this is happening with Diddy.
Yeah.
There's now questions of, is Diddy working with the feds? There's people claiming that. So we're going to get into a conversation right now. We saw the brutal video of what he did to Cassie. We saw his apology, right? Not so much. So what happens now? And some people are speaking, some people are voicing up, things are resurfacing. But most importantly, Diddy's been spotted here in Miami.
Yes, so.
You know where we live. You know what's going on down there. Lives 5 minutes from me. Rob was just down there hanging out on the beach. No pants. Can't cancel
No
Rob.
pants.
But
Was wearing
TM
this shirt or maybe not a
Yes.
shirt. Who knows? No OnlyFans yet. No OnlyFans. No OnlyFans.
But TMZ, as they do, Diddy lives on Star Island. If you're familiar with Miami, not hard to find or to access. They went into his neighborhood. And here's what happened when they spotted Diddy. Let's roll this.
Are you okay? You all right, man? Appreciate it, man. I hope you're good, man. All right, cheers. Diddy, we're just trying to figure out what's going on, that's all. People just want to know if you feel sorry, if things are gonna, what's going on with that. I'm sorry to bug you. All right.
Have a good day.
All right, you too.
So he throws up the L sign for love.
I thought that was a loser sign.
What's that, loser?
No, because he was calling himself Love, right?
Yes.
He had
Yeah.
changed his name
After
to
the
Love.
pandemic.
Yeah, look, everybody who's been following hip hop, he was Puff Daddy, then he was Diddy, then he was P Diddy, then he was Brother Love,
And he's confused
then he
now.
was Welcome to Diddy's Flavor Town. Like, he's changed his name constantly, but now he's all about the love. It's interesting with
L.
the love, the L. I love how you're saying the L for loser.
Loser.
Great take right
Only
there.
a loser hits women.
Fully agree with that. So the LA District Attorney also weighed in on this latest situation. They said they can't prosecute Diddy over the video of him beating up Cassie. This was on May 17th. They said, quote unquote, if the conduct depicted occurred in 2016, unfortunately, we would be unable to charge as the conduct would have occurred beyond the timeline where the crime of assault can be prosecuted, aka the statute of limitations. We've all heard this before, but that didn't stop what has become Diddy's rival, 50 Cent, from making a statement. You guys familiar with what 50 Cent?
Oh
has
God,
been
they
saying?
hate each other.
Yeah.
50 Cent's always saying something about Diddy.
But
Like,
they
part
were
of what
friends
he
at one
said?
point, right?
were they?
I mean, in New York, they were both from New York. They were both rappers.
I think that
They
was very
were.
short-lived.
That was short-lived,
Probably.
no doubt. But here's 50's statement after what the LA District Attorney said. He said, this is why they put that tape out. They know they can't charge him with what we saw, but they know we can't unsee what we saw.
Agreed.
Interesting.
100%.
So
Agreed.
is there any chance anyone's going to ever think of Diddy in the music mogul, Ciroc light, or is it all Ciroc's, his whole vibe, or is it just he's the woman abuser now?
So I read a theory the other day, and it made a lot of sense to me. And the theory is that he's going to go through all of this. He's going to find God. He's going to call to religion. And then guess what he's going to be? The
Pastor
next pastor.
Diddy.
Pastor Diddy. Then he'll really be Brother Love.
Oh.
And he can ride that narrative till he's not here anymore.
And he'll make more money from
And
a mega
he will
church than
make
he ever made in the
so
music industry.
much money in a church that we will all be disgusted by that.
Okay,
why
and so
would a
I'm going to
church
take
support
this.
that?
I'm
Yeah.
going to take this somewhere else, and I'm going to take it here for now. There is a large segment of the black community that will literally make excuses for anyone who is wealthy and
Yeah.
famous.
Yeah.
They're like, go to the Shade Room comment section right now. Probably even in this comment section right now, there's somebody that's making an excuse. They're persecuting the black man. They're doing
He's
this.
a black
they're doing
man.
that.
They're using him as a
whatever. Okay,
scapegoat.
right.
Yeah.
And so that is a tactic. Remember, when Jonathan Majors got caught up in his stuff, where did he
Yep.
run? To the NAACP, to all the black vets or whatever. Like, that is a tactic.
Who was Jonathan Majors again?
Jonathan Majors, the actor. Remember,
Okay.
he got
No.
he was Kang in the Marvel movies and all that
Yes.
stuff, and he got
Okay,
caught up in
gotcha.
that abuse situation with that young woman that he was dating. Now, all of a sudden, how did he rehab his career? He's talking to the black talent on the news networks.
Right.
He's dating Megan Good.
Which
he's
is
going
the
to the
good
he's going
girl.
to the
Wow. Good
he's
girl.
going to the NAACP. So what I'm saying is this: when it's time for Diddy to do the rebrand, and it will come.
Yeah.
He's going to go straight to the church, straight to black people.
Yep.
Because there's an element of this community that will forgive no matter what.
And that's a cultural
because
thing.
of wealth and power. It's a
It
culture
doesn't
thing.
only exist in the black community.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
exists in like the Latin community too, to where it's okay for us to be like, oh no, you're bad, but don't let any. It's kind of like a sibling.
Yeah.
Like I'll pick on my sibling as much as I possibly, but don't you say something about her,
Really?
because this is my
Yeah.
sibling.
So
And then I'll take it an even step further, is that there's a lot of black men in this society that feel like in the black community, women are exalted over men at all times. In the
Right.
media, whatever, it's all the black woman, all this stuff or whatever. There's a lot of black men that feel shunted back, that feel ignored, that feel whatever. When he decides to make his comeback, that's where he will go. I promise you, 100%. I'm not saying it's good or bad. It's just what is. If I was a crisis, if I was, what was it, Kerry Washington on Scandal, whatever, if I was Olivia Pope or something like that, and
That's
I was
where
a
you
crisis
go.
person, and I, completely objectively, I'd be like, you go there. You go to the church, you go to the NAACP, you go to black media, you go there. Because what they're going to see with this coming out via CNN and all these other stuff, they're going to see the white media persecuting the black man. I'm not saying this is right or wrong. I'm saying what is.
Yeah.
I mean,
And
I
when
see that
he
as well.
Okay,
cleans
I have to
things
push back a little bit.
up- Please,
He-
please.
and not on you. This has nothing to do with black and white. He's beating up his black
They don't
girlfriend.
care. They don't
I-
know.
I
it.
agree
This
with
is
you.
not a race thing.
But
This
that's
is
the thing.
you're an
It's not
abusive
a-
dude.
It's not
literally
at
not a
all.
race thing at all.
It's
You're
not.
absolutely right.
But there's something so deep seated in minority culture that we're so much more forgiving
Yeah.
to our own that
Really?
we don't care how bad it
Absolutely.
was.
I'm not denying-
He could have
like-
went on a murder spree of newborn babies, and eventually time will pass.
I'm just telling you.
and his own group of people will
Yeah.
always
I'm telling
rep
you.
for him no matter
and
what.
I'm not
Rob,
saying
call
I
your
agree.
shot right now.
Yeah.
What's gonna happen? Call
What's
it.
gonna happen? What's
Yeah.
gonna happen? He's gonna lay low. I don't
Yep.
know what else is gonna come out. Maybe there are things that are worse than this. I
Yep.
don't know if there's anything that can come out about him that's worse than this. But if you listen to Can't
Yeah.
Cancel Rob Smith, I got into this in a previous episode. Follow on Apple Podcasts and YouTube at Can't Cancel Rob Smith. But anyway, 6, 9, 12 months from now, that's when the media tour starts. And it will start with black media. It will start there. It will start with churches. Apparently, there were some rumors that T.D. Jakes was going to these Diddy parties as well.
I've heard this.
T.D. Jakes is the leader of a very, very, very powerful
Huge
mega church.
congregation.
Huge. And I love T.D. Jakes. I listen to his stuff.
Pull up TD Jakes, please.
Yeah, his path to redemption goes through the black community.
Absolutely.
Because still, to this day, no matter what we saw, and no matter what we saw, no matter what we know to be true, there's an element of the community that's like, this black man has achieved this much power, this much wealth, this much success, and he's being persecuted by those white people.
I would just like to add to that statement that it's not just limited to black community or Latin community.
Yeah.
I don't think it's about communities, because each community does kind of try to support, or
Yeah, it's a minority
try
thing
to
in
For
general.
example, if there is a
Protect
white
your own,
shooter,
you're saying?
exactly,
Okay.
protect your
Yeah.
own. If there is a white person who is a shooter at a school, all of a sudden there's white people saying that, oh, he's just got mental health problems. So I don't think it's just limited to like the black community or Latin community. This is a problem overall in every community.
I'm just saying, in this specific case, that's his
But I
path to
agree with you,
redemption.
because
Yeah.
he's
Yeah.
already trying to gain
There's
sympathy from his
TD
fans.
Jakes
But
right there that you're
Yeah.
in a
talking
very
about.
important element, I don't think that path to redemption exists without the church element. In
Oh,
it.
yeah.
Gotcha.
And
Well,
churches
And they
can
get
be
richer.
bought.
They get richer.
Churches
after.
are business.
It's called donations.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
And
churches are
501c3
churches are business.
nonprofits.
Now, let me tell you something. I
Yes.
believe in our Lord and
501c.
Savior Jesus. Like, I'm a Christian, right? Like, I believe in God, and I go to church and all that stuff. But you have to understand, churches are businesses as well.
Yeah.
You ask how many churches in Chicago have been bought by politicians. You ask how many churches all across the country has been bought by politicians. You have to understand that this man has limitless resources. Limitless resources. Okay, I think that he's going to go through the church. I think that that is correct. And I think that in 2 to 5 years, we're going to be seeing, Pastor Diddy, all that stuff.
But how does the church allow that? How does the church
Because
welcome
the
that?
church
It's
is
called
forgiving.
the money.
It's forgiveness.
Let's hope it's real.
And when
though.
you got a big fat check in your face, it's really easy to forgive fucked up shit.
And
then
it's
why is that
very, and if you want to sell
You
something
know?
to people, especially if you want to sell something to people, it is very easy to sell it to them if you wrap it up in the right package.
Yep. With a
Right.
nice, pretty face on it.
Yeah.
I mean, people nowadays don't have a lot of faith unless you're a very strong-minded person or a very strong-willed individual. This is an opportunity for the black church to get more people in the doors.
Yeah, and never underestimate the power of deep celebrity.
Absolutely.
Deep celebrity.
Absolutely. Because
And-
even though we know he's this messed up person, he still is a brand.
He still is a brand.
So-
He's still a celebrity.
Yeah, you bring up Jonathan Majors. I'm like, who's that? Nobody's like, who's Diddy? What? He's like, everyone knows exactly what he's talking about.
Yeah.
Speaking of people in the black community that everybody kind of knows who they are at this point, this is how we kind of started. Is he working with the feds? Candace Owens sort of re-echoed what Kanye had to say about Diddy on the Drink Champs podcast not too long ago. So here's Candace's tweet giving props to Kanye, saying, go ahead, Nat.
It says he's not in jail because he's a Fed/CIA asset. Kanye tried to tell everybody.
Okay, so Kanye tried to tell everybody. By the way, did you see that the post was unavailable?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was
Oh,
on. That was,
yes.
she referenced. I don't know.
What?
That was a. That's
Okay.
on a,
Deleted?
that's Anna Paulina's Twitter account, Congresswoman
Okay.
Anna Paulina Luna, friend of
So-
mine, and
Name drop,
apparently,
name drop.
yeah, name drop. Right, I just dropped that name right
Subtle,
over there.
real subtle.
No, a fabulous guy. But either way, I'm curious as to why that was deleted.
But we have the video
Oh, you have the video.
of Kanye on the Drink Champs, which takes place here down in Miami. So, do we
He
have that,
posted
Ale?
text messages too.
Okay, let's go.
Did all my friends. I don't got no celebrity friends. Because when I was on TV, on Instagram saying, I don't know where my child is, and the Kardashians kidnapped my daughter in public, and I didn't have the address of my child, none of these niggas that want to say something
Travis
now.
gave you the address, though, right?
Travis gave me the address.
Right.
But as far as Meek Mills, Puff Daddy, whoever, none of these niggas, all you fake hard niggas, fuck you.
Wait,
Come,
wait,
no, hold on.
okay.
All you fake hard niggas, fuck you. You know what I'm saying? I don't give a fuck who, because you can't shoot nobody anyway, and the reason why you got talks because you did a deal, you fucking fed. You know what I'm saying? That's why you gotta come at me, because part of the deal for you to be able to do all that and get out of jail is that you promise that you're gonna go pull my coat car. So y'all niggas shut the fuck up about me. Now let me say it calm. You niggas shut the fuck up about
Okay,
you
right
shut the
there.
fuck up about Michael.
So,
Can I make that my ringtone, by the way?
Yeah.
Like, I just always
shut-
like the whole thing.
so Rob, I'm gonna come to you.
Yeah.
You know, you said that, you know, Diddy, his redemption tour is going to start with the black church. You know, Kanye, all his music, Jesus Walks, he's done. I went to a concert of his years ago in Miami. It's gospel, it's church, it's
Yeah,
all that.
yeah.
Who has a more of a likelihood of being redemption at this point? Kanye, who got canceled, or Diddy at this point? Or is it Diddy just completely so far gone?
Well, first of all, I don't think that Kanye is in need of redemption. I mean, Kanye's had like 2 #1 albums since he's been quote unquote canceled. So Kanye is such a part of the culture that you can never cancel that, right?
Yeah.
Like he is in the culture. And also, what Kanye needed to be redeemed for was making some anti-Semitic comments. He apologized for, but also like, you know, his Trump support, that's not enough, right? You know, Kanye's not on video beating somebody, right? So Kanye
There's
doesn't
levels
need
to this. I
Yeah,
agree.
Kanye doesn't need redemption because he hasn't been canceled.
So what's the likelihood based on what Kanye is saying? Because Kanye, loose with the lip.
Very loose.
What's the likelihood that he's just talking smack,
No.
or that there is some truth to the fact that he knows that Diddy is working with the feds?
No, I think that there's a lot of truth to that fact.
Really?
Absolutely. I
Why do you say that?
Because number one, I think this. I remember doing media at the time. Like I was doing the cable news thing back when Kanye came out for Trump, right? And I was like, I was battling with all these people on cable news about Kanye's crazy, he's bipolar, et cetera, blah, blah, blah. I never really believed any of that stuff. I really believe that he's just somebody that speaks truths that he's not supposed to speak, right? If you're high up in entertainment, high up in politics, high whatever, there's a level that we see and then there's the behind the clothes, like you go to meet the wizard and go behind the curtain.
The curtain, yeah.
Right? And so I know as a political commentator, right, like there are things that everybody knows that you're not supposed to say. You're supposed to sort of, push whatever agendas
a level
or
of
not say this,
discretion.
whatever. There's levels.
There's always a level of
Kanye
discretion.
never had that, so he was always speaking the truth, but everything that he said ended up being true, right? So obviously, Diddy and a lot of these people are fed in CIA assets. Obviously, they're feeding a lot of information to the feds about the sex trafficking that a lot of these rappers are doing, that the drugs, everything else. You listen to the lyrics. I did a podcast episode about this. There's a Megan Thee Stallion song called Body. One of the lyrics is, if they all came with you, if you brought a group of girls, they better know exactly what the fuck they came to do.
Oh, damn.
If you come
And this
here,
is a woman
this is a
singing
woman
this
singing
song.
about this. They are literally telling you that they are sex trafficking.
plain
They are
sight.
telling you that they are selling
Absolutely.
sex. It is all in the lyrics. You think that there's not fed assets all up and through that industry? Do you think that there's somebody there that has not had that video of Diddy assaulting Cassie for years, waiting to drop that,
Yes.
holding that over his
Absolutely.
head? Do you think that our most powerful people in Congress and media and government or whatever, some of the things that they vote for in Congress, like they've got stuff on all of these people?
I mean, it's not only that, it's vice versa too. Like some of these congressmen, these politicians, these
Yeah.
artists, they were all at those parties.
Absolutely.
Like, let's be real. Like, let's be honest.
Something really important I'd like to highlight about cancel culture is that the more canceled you are, the more likable you are in today's world. Look at Andrew Tate, look at Sneeko, look at Kanye. So, you saying that is Diddy canceled? We don't know, because according to today's trend, the more canceled you are, you have more fans and the more likable you are. Again, I'm not comparing Diddy with Andrew Tate here, but I'm just trying to show the pattern that it doesn't stop.
You're absolutely right. And I had this conversation with Michael Sartain where he said, in today's social media culture, it's just all about the amount of eyeballs and clicks and views you get. And there's no discernment between good and bad anymore. And we gave the example of, like, back in the 80s and 90s, it was Rocky versus Drago, the good guy, the bad guy. It was Hulk Hogan, pro-America versus the Iron Sheik. Like, it was a very clear distinction on who was bad and who was good. Now, the Fire Festival guy, Billy McFarland, all right, he's a piece of shit. Let's get him on the podcast.
Yeah.
Jake Paul, all right, is he a good guy? Is he a bad guy? I don't know. Let's do a fight with him. Tyson's doing a fight with him. But at some point, yes, that fame, you're absolutely right, the cancel culture, everything with that, even Kanye. But what Diddy's doing right now, will redemption be there? Here's my last question for you on this segment. You made such a good point about God complex,
Most of my
Messiah
points are good.
complex, about having the fame, the status, the money, the wealth, and it leads you to this delusion of, like, I'm there. Who do you think is actually more God complex like? Diddy or Kanye?
I think Kanye. I think that Kanye learned how to tame the monster, and Kanye actually found God, right? And you can tell that within the music that at some point Kanye had it all and everything, and at some point you realize that it's kind of empty, right? Like none of us will ever know what it's like to be operating at that level, but I think that we probably all had differing levels of fame or success or whatever, and you get to a point where there's just so much right in front of you, and it's just like, man, if this is all there is, this is super empty, right? So Kanye found God. I think that his Messiah complex and his God complex is probably higher than Diddy's. But Kanye was able to, like that quote you used earlier, tame the monster. Diddy was not able to tame the monster. And if you cannot tame the monster, and if you cannot find something that is at a higher level than what this culture has to offer you, it will ultimately destroy you. So this is what I think. We're at Valuetainment. This is PBD's thing, right? I've done the PBD podcast before. So you have somebody that is a super, super high level, high net worth entrepreneur that has access to everything in the world and has decided to use that platform to elevate other people, to educate people, to inform people, to do the books, to do the consulting, to do all of that stuff. That person has made a choice to use this level of fame and access in a positive way.
Yeah, in a sense to kind of pay it forward.
In a sense to kind of pay it forward. Now you have somebody like Diddy, who by all accounts, like we know that he's a monster, but by all accounts, if you look at the business practices of the artists that have been on Bad Boy, this dude has been screwing people over left and right for decades at this point.
That's so
He's
valid.
obviously never found the
integrity.
positivity in that platform. It's always been more.
So here's what I'll tell you. We're going to circle back in 6, 12, 18, 24 months and see if your prediction about Diddy coming back to the church, the black community, embracing him remains to be true. Remember, Rob Smith said it here. Next thing. Okay, you brought up PBD. Awesome, Midra. We did the PBD podcast this morning. It was a home team podcast. It was an awesome episode. In PBD, we were talking about the Diddy situation, and he goes, oh, this video that came out with the Cassie thing. Now, this is from 2016. How long do you think they've had this? What do you think is going on? We had the conversation about the feds know this. If they've had this video, what other videos are out there? What other things are being held out there? And we've seen in political campaigns the slow drip of information that came out, like what they tried to do to Trump. Oh, we got the Access Hollywood tape. Grab him by the, he's like, I don't give a shit. Teflon down over here. Most candidates would drop out when the Access Hollywood thing. Name another candidate that is married, running for president, the Access Hollywood thing comes out, gets more votes. Trump's a totally different beast. But what I'm getting at is, what other videos are out there that we don't know about? But there are videos out there that we do know about. So PBD made a great point. So I want to play you guys some videos. We don't know what's going to happen in the future, but we can kind of go back and trace our steps in the past. And here's where I really want to get the ladies' perspective, especially with what you were talking about earlier. Cassie hasn't made a statement. We haven't heard anything about her, but the closest thing to a statement from Cassie is a statement from her husband. Cassie's remarried. I think they have 2 kids. And here's what he had to say. His name is Alex Fine. I think he's actually a male model, interesting enough. So here's his message to domestic abuse survivors and the abusers themselves. Let me know when you have that, Alejandra. Okay. So we're going to have to punch in. And Alejandra, if you can read that, you can read it. Can you see it on your end?
Yes, I can see it.
Go ahead, read it.
Letter to women and children. Men who hate women aren't men. Men who enable it and protect those people aren't men. As men, violence against women shouldn't be inevitable. Check your brothers, your friends, and your family. Our daughters, sisters, and mothers and wives should be protected and loved. Hold the woman in your life with the utmost regard. Men who hurt women hate women. To all the survivors, find the men and women who help and love. To all the survivors, your stories are real and people believe you. To all the survivors, you are not alone, and there are men and women who care only for your well-being and safety. We want you to succeed and flourish. To all the women and children, I'm sorry you live in a world where you are not protected and you don't feel equal. I want to raise my daughters in a world where they are safe and loved. To the abusers, you are done. You are not safe anymore. You are not protected anymore. The men by your side are just as weak. You are so miserable with yourself, and that, well, I don't understand that.
Okay.
Would be considered as kindness.
So, by the way, can we show a picture of her and her family and the kids? I believe that was in
we have
there.
it.
I want you guys to get some
here.
perspective of where they are now. Go ahead. That's her and her new guy.
Yeah.
And I believe there's multiple pictures with the family. If we can
Babies.
push down a little bit.
That's
That is
the
one of her
kid.
kids.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay. That's what looks like to be a happy family.
Yeah.
2 young daughters, it would seem, under 4 or 5 years old, I would assume.
Yeah.
Go ahead. So there's this dude. So they look happy.
They look
And there they
safe.
are together. So again, she didn't make a statement, but believe me, he's not making a statement about abuse and everything that happened without her blessing. So ladies, this is where I want to understand where you're coming from. You talked about why you would stay with a guy like this. Why would Cassie stay with Diddy like this? We actually have some videos of what Cassie said when she was still with Diddy. Now that she's with this guy, and he wrote this, what's your interpretation? Dina, let's start with you and let's go down the line here.
So I kind of want to go back to something that you asked before,
Yep.
which was, what's the hardest thing after you after you go through something like that? And I think the hardest thing is learning to trust yourself again. And the reason why I say that is because, again, you're stuck in an environment where someone's constantly feeding you something in your brain. So that becomes the propaganda, that becomes the narrative that you tell yourself. So you start to believe that you're not important, or that you're not special, or that nobody cares what happens to you because you believe it. It's ingrained in your brain for years and years and years and years. So I think that's the hardest part, is to be able to trust yourself. And even her now, being in a happy relationship and having beautiful daughters, every day of her life, she'll still be scared because she has daughters. So that will forever replay in her brain. And when her babies get older and they're out there and they're dating, she'll be terrified all the time. You know? So I think, to kind of circle back to what you're saying, it's just a very difficult situation, even when you are happy again, because it's hard to trust that happy version of yourself, because you've been instilled in your brain for such a long time that you're not worthy of these things, you know? So when you start to see that you're getting them, even as Maria mentioned, you'll push them away because you'll be like, this is not for me. I'm not, you know, I'm not worth this, or I'm not, whatever the case may be. And in Cassie's situation, I actually do believe that she, you know, is very lucky that she met her husband when she met him, because I don't think she would be here, if we're being completely honest.
Really? You think it could have got that ugly?
I do.
Oh, man. Well, I think we're all happy to where she is now. And thank you for sharing, Maria. You know, you started this little tearjerker situation, so let's just get it out. When you saw that statement and everything you said, you talked about the loving of the boyfriend, and you thought you can change the guy. How do you process what's going on here?
Well, first off, I think God is, it's just like a statement for women to know that God will think about you all the time, and He will be there for you. He probably put that situation in your life for some reason, so you have to learn, so you have to be stronger. But God's gonna bless you with someone like that, like him. He seems to be amazing. If he says that type of a statement like you said, it's because probably she approved it before, obviously. And it takes a lot. Sometimes for all the women that been through all of that type of situations, we think there is not men that is gonna be awesome with you. We lose the faith too, and we don't wanna. We don't wanna fall in love again. But the most important thing is to fall in love with yourself first, and fall in love with God, and He will put the right person in front of you. There is so many people in the world, and it takes just one person to be on your way, to be happy, to respect you, to love you, and appreciate you for who you are. But everything starts from you. You have to believe in yourself. You have to respect yourself. You have to honor yourself in order for you to be worth of what you want in your life.
Well, if I could, I'd give you a big hug right now. You know what? I'm going to give you a hug. Fuck this. Come on, girl. That's my girl. And Dana, I owe you a hug.
It's all right.
Thank you guys for sharing this. Look, it's not easy. And I'm going to tell you a story of what I dealt with, actually. But we can kind of go. I feel like we're doing a little intervention here right now. Nat, you good?
Yeah.
Okay.
But this is just proof when you allow the wrong man to lead you. You know,
Prime example.
Let the men lead. Let them show you where to go. And when you see that you finally put trust in a man, you know, you have this idea like he's going to lead me to where I have to go. And when they start to lead you and they start to do the things that abuse you, you're like, okay, he's leading me. I trust him. And then next thing you know, I can go south. And that's why you have something like the Me Too movement where it can go so south where people just use it to their advantage.
Yeah.
And it devalues the actual women who get their asses whooped. You know, it's very sad to see. And it takes something like this, somebody with so much power. Cassie, beautiful. Look how instantly she left Diddy, found this guy, kids right away. She's been
Married
with Diddy
right
for
away.
years.
Kids
Married with
growing.
him. And instantly
Everything.
she found somebody, had kids, and now look at the life she's living. And props to her for being so classy with how she's dealing with this. Such a representation for her kids. This is not a place where you go and you tell women and you expose them and it's for a check. It's a genuine cry for help. And I think this situation is a learning lesson for all men and for all women. Women, don't cry wolf if there's no wolf. Men, behave, because these things are meant to have consequences behind it. So I would love to see the consequences behind it. You see his video, I want to take full responsibility. Go to jail.
Yeah.
Go to jail.
100%.
Let's
Yeah.
see. You want to take responsibility? You do the time to represent. You want to take the responsibility.
You can't do
Yeah.
the time, don't do the crime. But
Right.
that whatever happened in that video, disgusting. It's past the statute of limitations, but there are new allegations. So when there's smoke, there's fire, and there's more stuff that's going to come in. Do you want to weigh in on any perspective that you may have in this situation?
Yeah, you asked a great question as to why women stay in these kind of relationships, and I'd like to highlight that. First of all, main reason is attachment. These men love bomb the woman in the relationship. So love bombing is a tactic. And when a woman gets attached to that, you become addicted to that. That's one of the reasons. The second reason is they play with your self-esteem. So a woman thinks that she cannot find anyone better, or there's no one out there to love her. Then third aspect is being dependent on the man financially, which a man should. He should be the provider, he should protect, but he shouldn't make a woman be so like begging for that, you know?
Yeah.
He
Just
makes
because you provide doesn't give you the right to
Exactly.
abuse me.
Right.
Exactly. So those are some of the reasons like why women end up staying in the relationship. But then there's also image. Like they don't want to look bad. They don't
Yeah.
want to get the
Yeah,
stigma
there's
of
shame.
divorce
There's an
or
aspect
shame.
of shame to
Like
it.
they want to still compromise and try. So those are like sadly some of the reasons why women stay in these sort of relationships.
I have also something
Yeah.
else to say. For example, I have a big group of women that I lead right now. And I always tell them how important it is for you to find a purpose in life and how important it is for you to actually learn how to have your own money too. Not to make them feminist, but like for you to be able to choose and not be chosen, for you to be able to make a decision not over your needs, but what you want in your life. That's very important. And on social media right now, it's so hard to keep a relationship healthy long term because it's not only your opinion, but everybody else's opinion, right? So how do they attach your emotions from that type of comments and things? So like finding purpose, making your own money, but also learning how to submit when the time it is for you to
Right.
submit into the right man. That's important.
And that's very hard. That's very hard to do because how do you submit to a man when, like you said, trusting yourself? How do you
Yeah.
know this is the right guy to submit to, right?
Yeah.
And then it's like, well, this is normal. This
'Cause
is-
even
your
the
new
wrong
normal
guy-
is now
Even- that's
very
it, that's a
abusive.
This is the thing. Even the wrong guy was the right guy in the beginning.
Right,
You know what I
right.
mean? And then another, like, people think, oh, but why didn't she leave? Why doesn't she leave? But what people don't understand, too, is that when you're in that situation, leaving is not that easy.
Yeah.
That video that we saw, that was her trying to leave.
Yeah.
She was trying to leave.
Yep.
But
And then
she knew.
there's
But
a-
she knew. Sorry,
you
she
know.
knew that that was not normal. So problem is when you start thinking that that type of behavior is normal. And I got into that. I said, well, when he's not making that type of things, it's because maybe he's not loving me enough. So that's a big problem when you start thinking that that type of behavior is normal out there. It's not normal. It's not normal that someone is just treating you like you're not a priority,
And with
that you're
abuse-
not worth.
With abuse, there's a very common pattern that a man or a woman, could be a woman too, they're going to say that, oh, I'm so sorry, I've changed.
Yeah.
I'm never going to do this again.
It's horrible.
And
Yeah.
then we end up believing them, you know, because we see those tears and we really believe that they have changed and they really love us. But no, they have not.
Great point. And actually, it's the perfect time to bring up the stat. I want to get Rob to weigh in on this. I actually said, during all this, I said, who's doing the abuse? Because you know, at one hand, I'm like, dude, this fucking guy Diddy, this is ridiculous. What's going on with Weinstein and Epstein and this and that? And it's like, all right, well, who's actually doing it now? Feel free to fact check me. This is the first stat that our research team found. So check this. Domestic violence rates by gender and sexuality. Percentage of people who have experienced intimate partner violence, rape, or stalking in their lives. This is from Point21. The source is from the National Coalition of Anti-Violence Programs. Seems pretty reputable. But the highest percentage are bisexual women. Interesting, 61% that claim abuse, violence, stalking in their lives. Second are lesbian women at 44%. Okay. Third, bisexual men, 37%. Fourth, straight women, 35%. Straight men, 29%. Last on the list, gay men. So man on man, very limited. And go to the top stat.
It's equal fight.
Bisexual women. Rob, make some sense of this stat if you can. Not.
I will say, I mean, I'm not surprised by the lesbian women stat because lesbians are always trying to fight.
Really?
That's
like
true.
anybody. Like lesbians are so violent. Like there'll be like this little like 5'3" lesbian and like she'll be squaring up. Like like lesbians are crazy.
Like the butch ones or the lipstick ones?
The butch ones.
Okay.
But yeah, they be trying to square up, so I'm not surprised about that. But I don't know. Like that's a crazy stat to me. That because with the bisexual women, it's like I'm going to assume that they're experiencing intimate partner violence via their male relationships. So the most shocking thing or surprising thing to me is that so many lesbians are experiencing violence in their relationships, which is very. It's just a surprise to me. I don't know. I'm not shocked that that gay dudes don't have a whole lot of violence in our relationships. Like I don't know. It's just,
why
it just doesn't really seem like something that's like a gay culture thing.
So
Although
I
I
have
have
a
heard
question.
I've heard stories of it happening before.
Like specifically to you, Rob, do you think that maybe that stat is a little skewed because maybe gay men or straight men don't report abuse as much as
I think
women
that's super likely. I mean, you know, look, I'm a journalist by trade, although that's a dirty word right now. Like I went to Columbia and I did like the whole journalist thing. So I'm always curious about stats because look, what I've learned about stats is that you can pull any kind of survey from anywhere and it's going to read whatever, you know, the person that's publishing it wants it to read, right? That could be, you don't know how many people that they've surveyed. You don't know what the sample size was. You don't know where they was, all this other stuff. But I think that you're right about the fact that men are less likely to report this stuff, but I don't want to make it about men because I don't know that this is about men.
I got a question for you ladies. Because Diddy, scumbag, dirtbag, horrible, ridiculous. Do you know any other women that have hit their boyfriend or their husband?
Yes.
You do?
Yeah.
I do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes?
Yeah, I do too.
Yes?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Okay. So
can I say one thing?
I just want to understand this.
Sure.
At what point, okay, you're hitting the man, what should a man do if you're hitting him?
Leave.
Yeah.
Just walk out?
Walk out.
He
What
should
happens if you're in
walk
a
out.
car? I'm trying to understand this.
Yeah, pull over.
But
walk
for the
out,
record,
pull
no
out.
girls hitting me these days.
Yeah.
I'm single.
Good.
Are you okay, Adam?
should
Think
get-
twice if you need help, okay? Like,
I feel like even when we think back to the Chris Brown and Rihanna situation that we had dealt with earlier, now I just remember, like rumor has it or whatever, that this was a physical fight between both of them in the car. I remember reading that stuff, and none of that stuff has ever been corroborated, right? And so I think that was another sort of wrinkle to that story, which allowed Chris Brown to sort of have some kind of career. And I remember having conversations with people at that point in time, and they were like, well, you know, women hit too, and you know, sometimes you know, he hit her, she got hit back. And this is what this is not me saying this, but they'd be like, well, you know, you're gonna square up with me like a man, you're gonna get treated like a man, right? This is not Rob Smith saying this.
Yes.
This is what people say.
so
You
here's
know.
my
So hold on, real quick. I want to show these videos because we have about a half hour left, and I want to get to 3 more things. And Dina, believe me, you're gonna have some time. So, by the way, circling back to Cassie, because we're talking about statements that resurfaced. Also, J-Lo had some things to say that resurfaced.
J-Lo.
Here's a video from 3/10/2016, and the reason I'll tell you that date is in a second. It's important. Here's Cassie on a local news outlet promoting a movie that she did called perfect match.
I remember that.
With, tell me if you recognize the name of this guy.
Eric something, right?
It's a casual relationship and that he wants the same thing, so that
Terrence
maybe they
J.
would work out, or that would work out
So
for
let
them.
me ask you, in the movie you have, I guess, some very intimate scenes. Yeah. So I'm wondering about the boyfriend, Diddy, whether he came to the set to make sure everything was copacetic with you.
No, he actually really trusted the situation. Him and Terrence spoke beforehand because Terrence.
Wait. Wait. You date P. Diddy?
Oh wow.
I didn't know this. Yeah. Hold the phone.
You know, I typically don't talk about my private life.
Well,
but
forgive me. They put it on the television.
They put it on the television.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't go like really. It's your
I'll let
business.
that one go.
So all right.
But wait, she was telling the story that.
So Terrence was a bit nervous, and I told Puff about it, and he said, have him give me a call. So we FaceTimed, and they had their man talk, and he said, make it believable. You guys, this is like going to be a great movie for you, and he's proud of us at the end of the day.
Oh,
It's work.
the actor talked to Puff.
Yeah.
So I didn't know you called him Puff.
Yeah, Puff, Sean.
Yeah.
I think everybody has their different names.
Well, he seems like a good guy. I met him once when he was selling.
Cool.
rock-
So what's interesting about that, and tee up that next video, the date, the time stamp. By the way, just fact check me, Alejandra. Go back to that back video. What date was that posted? That she's on that television show.
It says it was 8 years ago, March 10th, 2016.
I told you guys at the beginning of the show. Remember the date of the hotel scene. The hotel scene was March 5th,
5 days before
2016. That was that incident hotel was 5 days before she went on here, allegedly saying, "Yep, I spoke the guy, this, that, the other." So she talk about she just we saw what happened to her. Now she
She has
has
a
to
really good media
clean it
training.
up. Unbelievable. 5 days later, allegedly, if you check the timestamps. Then there's another video. This was in 2018, where she's on one of the more famous radio podcasts talking about Diddy and marriage. And that starts at 6:18. Play that.
I guess long term, as you and Puff have this amazing relationship
Is
that's
that
whispered all the
2018?
rumors and all the negative energy.
This is 2018 on Hot 97 New
everybody
York.
always wants to put their own terms of a relationship on other people. When is he gonna marry you? When is this gonna happen? Nowadays with somebody like Puff, who's Puff's been married. I don't know how many times, once maybe twice. I don't know. Oh, he's never been married.
No.
So obviously he's not into that. that's not his
You know
thing.
what's cool about Puff is that he is, and he does want to understand marriage. But we have, a certain type of relationship, and it just works the way it is.
Do you
Okay.
Do you believe marriage is for everybody?
She goes on and says, see if you can hit play real quick. What does she say?
No, absolutely not. My parents are still married.
Absolutely not, she said, but her parents are still married. So
brother.
now she's happily married to this new guy.
What's with the
Interesting.
shades?
So,
Yeah, that's what I was gonna
too.
say.
Like, why is she wearing shades? Does she have a
Exactly.
bruise? Is
That's
she
what I was
covering a
So
gonna
bruise?
it's just funny when you go back, the internet is forever. You go back to 2016, 2018, all these videos, all these interviews, they're going to resurface. See what she's saying, and when she said, asked about marriage, no, definitely not marriage. By the way, that video was in October of 2017. They broke up a few months later in 2018, right after saying that marriage isn't for her. By the way, do you know who Diddy dated in the early 2000s? J-Lo. You remember this? Before it was
Yep.
J-Lo and Ben Affleck. And
When she was Jenny
Mark
from
Anthony.
the block.
What was it?
Jenny from
Yeah,
the block.
Jen-
Now this time I can't
Don't
remember.
be fooled by the rocks that I got.
No, at this point I can't remember the last time I seen her with a black person in public.
Yep.
She has moved way away.
Here's J-Lo's comments, if we can pull this up.
She's sad.
Yeah.
She said, being thrown around and manhandled like that is not fun. I was never in a relationship where I got beat
remember
up,
that.
but thank God. But I've definitely been manhandled and a couple other unsavory things, rough and disrespectful. Keep in mind, when she dated him, that was right around the time that he did that savage video. So he hadn't fully become a billionaire, ultimate, massive dude in the hip hop and culture space at that point. But Cassie saw that. By the way, a former employee of J-Lo said the following. She recalled how demanding and demeaning Diddy was. Quote unquote, he would order us all around. Anything he wanted, we had to go fetch for him. And I use fetch literally. Diddy seemed to classify us all into two categories: fuckable and unfuckable.
Damn.
Okay? And believe me, it was better to be not affable. Then he'd just to be disrespectful and act like we were there to serve him, like a waitress. But the pretty girls who were effable, he was super creepy. So, look, we're seeing everything that happened with Cassie. We're seeing J-Lo's words. We're seeing Cassie's former interviews. We're seeing what Cassie's life looks like today, what her husband has to say. I just want to thank you guys for sharing and getting, like, this is real. There's tear jerkers. We're going around. I'll tell you just real quick story, and we're going to move on from Diddy. The reason that I wanted to show that abuse comes from all angles is because it's not just man on woman. It's not just woman on woman.
Right.
It's family. It's kids. It's adults. It's uncles. Like, I've told this on the PBD podcast before. I'll say it now. My father was very abusive to me. He was a big dude, and the way that he would respond is punching and hitting. So I grew up having to be either really fast to run away or be able to take a freaking punch. And my father passed away a few years ago, so I don't want to speak ill of the dead. But when in relationships, you know, we ask, well, why didn't you get away? Why can't you get away? How does a 12-year-old kid get away? How does a 16-year-old kid get away?
Yeah.
So he would always say to me, you ain't shit, you're never gonna be shit. But you know what I did? There's two
Leveled
things.
up.
There's two things you can do. You can fall into that victim culture and be like, you're right, I'll never. And I'd be like, fuck you, I'm the man, bro. You ain't shit. What kind of guy hits a 12-year-old, you know? So I was pretty lippy at the time. And anytime that I hear the word fear, you know, there's two connotations with that. That's forget everything and run, or face everything and rise. So whether it's me, whether it's you ladies, whether it's Cassie, whether it's you guys out there, we're all gonna deal with some wild shit in our life. And you have to ask yourself a question. Am I gonna forget everything and run and be a scared animal? Or am I gonna face everything and rise? And kudos to everyone that faces everything and rise. Respect. We've got 2 more stories. And we're gonna try to get to 3 more stories if we have time. We're done with Diddy for the day, guys.
Okay.
Okay? I
Lock
know we
his
have
ass
some-
up. All right,
we
now.
have some super chats we're gonna get to at the end of the
Yes.
show. Nat is reading great. Alejandra's tear
Reading
jerking over
great.
there. Everyone's here. Take a break. We have a half hour left. Thank you guys for being with us. Thank you for the audio team, the production team. This isn't gonna be as tear jerkers. We're gonna actually
man, let me be
we're
a
actually
fucking
gonna
comedian.
get into a little
God.
bit. We're actually gonna get into a little bit. So there's you know, football season's over. The Kansas City Chiefs won the Super Bowl. We know about Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift. We were just literally hanging out with Travis Kelce
we were.
at the F1 event. I mean, there were
Yeah.
celebrities
A whole bunch.
hanging out. We're at this private, amazing event.
Yeah.
Jimmy Butler shows up. Travis Kelce shows up. Celebrities, Odell Beckham. It was awesome. Rappers galore.
Yeah.
I'm like, what? Travis? How you doing, Travis? Boom. So, but the most famous Kansas City Chief right now is not Travis Kelce. It is not even Patrick Mahomes, their Pro Bowl MVP quarterback. It's their freaking kicker, Harrison Butker. And he's going super viral for saying comments that a few decades ago would have been very normal. So I want you lovely ladies and gentlemen to weigh in on what you think of these comments. So we talked about earlier, men lead, women follow. You got to find the right guy to submit to. You got to find the right guy to lead you. I want you to see if this is the type of guy you would want leading your relationship, and if you agree with these comments or if you're offended by these comments. Harrison Butker, his speech, he was speaking at Benedictine College, a private Catholic college in Kansas, and he's receiving massive criticism from the left and certain people for daring to stand up to support traditional Christian values during his address to the graduates of this college, a private Catholic college in Kansas. Quote unquote, I think it is you, the women, that have been told the most diabolical lies. Do we have that clip?
Some of you may go on to lead successful careers in the world, but I would venture to guess that the majority of you are most excited about your marriage and the children you will bring into this world.
In a controversial commencement speech at Benedictine College over the weekend, 3-time Super Bowl champion Harrison Butker railing against everything from President Biden to Pride Month to IVF and speaking directly to the women in the audience.
I can tell you that my beautiful wife, Isabel, would be the first to say that her life truly started when she began living her vocation as a wife.
Butker also criticizing gay rights when telling the students to take pride in their school.
Not the deadly sin sort of pride that has an entire month dedicated to it.
And had a message for the men.
Be unapologetic in your masculinity, fighting against the cultural emasculation of men.
The NFL responding, saying Butker gave a speech in his personal capacity, and his views are not those of the league. Some pointing out the Georgia native's own mother is a physicist in the Department of Oncology at Emory.
So, rapid fire. When you hear these comments, Dina, agree, disagree, traditional gender roles, he's telling women as they're graduating, hey, congratulations on graduating, but essentially the most joy you're going to have in your life is being as a wife and a mother. Good luck out there, ladies. Agree, disagree? What do you think?
Agree.
Agree.
I think where he was at, he knew his audience, so maybe that's why he used the verbiage that he used as far as like calling being gay like this deadly sin and stuff like that. Remember, he's speaking at a Catholic university, so that's kind of why he probably put that in there. I think the problem is not the content, it's the context that people are applying to it. He never once said, women, you can't do anything else. He never once said, you can't be a boss. He never said, oh, all my wife does is she's a wife. He never said, you know, you can't be whatever you want to be. All he said was the most important thing that you will do in this world is your marriage and your family. And I agree with that. And I'm divorced.
Yeah.
You know, and I agree with that. I definitely do. I mean, we can sit out here and become the Kanye, you know what I mean? But even Kanye, what happened? He had the life and the dream life and all this stuff, and his wife wasn't really like a wife. Like, let's be real, Kim Kardashian isn't like the wife. Like,
She's a billionaire.
She's not. She's a
a
billionaire.
mom.
She's the
She's a
the
mom.
boss chick. She's this. She's that. She's whatever. I think now she's starting to become the mom. Like now, because her kids are kind of older, so they kind of are around a lot more.
Maria, your thoughts on this?
I agree with it. I'll say that just to nail it, I'll say that women need to also find their purpose. So you are in your 20s or in your prime time. So just don't be just beautiful. Be beautiful, smart, and have a purpose in your life. Because ideally, you want to be successful, right? And then at the end of the road, you want to be a mom. Because according to the Bible, that's why you came to the world to. We came to nurture, right? That's, for example, that should be the woman goal. But in your road, find the purpose, find something to do with your life. Be an example. Be also a leader as a woman. Don't be man. Don't be feminist. But try to find a purpose. And I would say, for example, in my case, it's hard because I'm an entrepreneur, and you have to develop a lot of male energy. And it's hard because you become a leader. You have a lot of time. You're busy, right? You don't have a lot of time. And that's hard for you to find the right man. And then you start making a lot of money. So now for you to find your right match is hard to find someone that is in a kind of like in a lower level that you are, right? You have to find, I think the woman need to find someone that is better than you. So you can see him as a leader, right? That's how we should be doing it. And then my thought is at the end of the road, you have to find an exit so you can make a passive income in your life and you can give the time to your kids. If you don't have time to have kids, don't be a mom, period.
Okay. How about you? I know you're pretty traditional from Pakistan. You've been pretty clear about this. Zainab, why do you think people, I don't want to hear it from you, why do you think women, especially on the left, hear this and get triggered? You know, there's an article out there that the wife, she basically had to come out and make a statement defending him, saying that the speech was not bigoted. He's a good husband. He's a good man. You know, I can do what I want. Why do you think some women are so triggered when they hear a speech like this?
I think these women are in the masculine energy, and they're not seeing the speech from the truth itself. I don't think he said anything wrong. I think whatever he said is the truth. And even being from Pakistan, like, women are entrepreneurs. Women do work in Pakistan too. Women have purpose. They have identity. They are brand owners. They're salon owners. So nothing is holding you back from having your identity and purpose or being good with finances. But then at the end of the day, you don't want to be alone. You don't want to be 55 years old, alone. You have no kids. You don't have a husband. That is definitely a depressed life. And that is why there's so many people, so many women depressed in US today, because they're lonely, because they don't build a family. And America also, like the whole corporate life, it does not focus on family values and family bonding. So I feel like, you know, as you are working towards your purpose and your identity, it is super important to remember that you're a woman, and only we have this power to bring another human being in this world. Can men do that? No. So you should definitely make use of that power.
That is
You
the
know?
woman's superpower. Let me ask you, you know, we hear this.
It's our legacy.
100%.
Well, I mean, I've been reliably informed that men can get pregnant and have babies now.
Oh, no.
We got a couple buddies that are pregnant right now.
Stop Forget about it. Forget it.
But I actually have a question for you. You know, we've seen, you know, in the news, this clash of civilizations, East versus West, and at the heart of it is how women are treated. You know, I'm all about equilibrium, finding a balance, right? Because in the West, there's been this boss babe, female empowerment movement. You can do everything a man could do, make your money, get your money, all that. All right, so then what happens is you end up doing this Chelsea Handler lifestyle. You never get married, you never have kids. You're focused on the money. You end up taking antidepressants. You end up like Chelsea Handler, chugging vodka and hanging out with your dildo all day. And just, you know, reminiscing about the good old days when you were hot in 20, now you're not so hot in 50. But, you know, so that's one complete extreme. But hey, I do what I want to do, but you're all alone. Okay. On the other extreme, you know, there's a lot of women in the East that aren't treated as equal as men. Yes, there's family values. And I agree that in the West, there should be more of a focus on family values. But, you know, we see what's going on like in countries like Afghanistan or in Iran. We saw that the Iranian president just died over the weekend. In 2022, there was the whole protest about the hijabs and the headdress. It's like, you know, in Saudi Arabia, women just were able to drive, respect to them. But women are second-class citizens in a lot of countries, especially in the Middle East. So what's the happy medium in your perspective?
So I will say that I do support limits and boundaries. I don't think that freedom is really good for any person, not just for women. I do feel like when you have principles and values, you're more prone to being successful. So similarly, if women have those principles and values, for example, not sleeping with everyone, because what's going to happen? You're going to end up making mistakes, and then your whole life is a mess. So I do believe that those kind of values are good for you. But at the same time, extremism, like religious extremism, is really bad. Like in Afghanistan, there are women that cannot get education. Okay, that is not okay. But that is not religion, because according to the religion, if they are following Islam, it says seek education. Like seek as much education as you can. And then according to the religion, there were women, if you read the book, that were in business, or that were entrepreneurs, that were in trading. So really, it's not just about like women not having the right to education or not speaking for themselves, like standing up for themselves. They should. Sadly, there is extremism in Iran and Afghanistan, and I don't support that. I do feel like women should have the right to education, to work if they want, and to stand up for themselves, and their voices should not be suppressed. They should have, for example, years ago in Saudi Arabia, women could not drive. That is not okay.
MBS showed up and he reversed that. And he's doing a lot of things to
and
modernize
I support
Saudi.
that.
Iran,
so sadly, there are some scholars, religious scholars, that have really twisted the religious perspectives, and they have kind of brought like a whole very strict, values into the religion, but it's not really, it's their own perspective. It's what they are practicing.
Thank you for that amazing conversation. Rob, I'm gonna give you the final word, but I want to tee up some things for you. Here are just some headlines of people that came out to support Harrison Butker, because a lot of people on the left, a lot of feminists were basically, screw you, how dare you, even here's women, ladies, these are beautiful women, mothers, entrepreneurs, traditional women who are agreeing with Harrison Butler. I don't know if you have a different take on this, but here are some headlines. The legendary coach, Lou Holtz, gives high praise and showed courage and commitment. Okay. Then we have Bill Maher. You would think, liberal, but he's center left. He ain't a progressive, woke leftist. He said, look, I don't see what the big crime is. I think we have a quick clip of him saying that.
Some of you may go on to lead successful careers in the world. Okay, that seems fairly, like, modern. But I would venture to guess that the majority of you are most excited about your marriage and the children you will bring into this world. I don't see what the big crime is. I really don't. And I think this is part of the problem people have with the left, is that lots of people in this country are like this. Like he's saying...
Yeah, so he basically saying he loves marriage, he loves kids, and now he's history's greatest monster. And you know what the final conclusion of this, before I give the final word to Rob on this segment? You know what? Nobody knew who this guy was. There's literally hundreds of more famous NFL players, okay? He is now not in the top 100, not in the top 50, not in the top 10, number 3 best-selling jersey in all of the NFL. So his merch is now, quote-unquote, one of the most popular on NFL Shop after his controversial speech, and it's the number 3 jersey. Do you have that?
Wow.
Okay. There it is. He's out there. So make some sense of why people just want some traditional sense of values, and why even women agree with him, basically saying, women, go get married, have kids.
Well, I think that we're just in a point in society where we have had one side of the aisle or one take on things just being shoved down our throats and bashed in our face over and over and over and over and over again for the better part of 15 years at this point. So when people see a more traditional message, they rally behind it. And I think that he is becoming successful because there's an audience out there that wants to hear messaging like this. And the response from the left towards the speech was predictable. Did I like everything that he had to say in the speech? No, but you know what? That's why we live in America and not North Korea. You know, people can say what they want to say. And I think that to your point earlier, we're on the tail end of cancel culture. And conservatives, right-leaning people, whatever you want to call it, now they are voting with their wallets, okay? They're supporting these people that come out, say the things that they want to hear or align with the beliefs that they have. And they're going to say, okay, well, the left isn't going to do this, the left isn't going to do that. We will support him. We will buy his jersey. We will make him ours because this is somebody that aligns with what we believe and isn't afraid to go out there and say it. And if you align with what I believe, you can go follow at Can't Cancel Rob Smith on YouTube and on Apple Podcasts, iHeartPodcasts, or wherever you get
we'll have plenty of time to promote that again. But here's what I'll tell you. You know, in the NBA, there was one guy a black guy that wouldn't take a knee and do the social justice thing. Jonathan Isaac, he's not an all-star. He's not even a famous guy. Jersey started being a top seller. But I want to hone in on what you disagreed with because we have a new candidate. See if we can get that story ready. This candidate who's actually been on the show. What did you disagree with? Because I actually want to have that conversation.
Oh, well, you know, I think this, you know, as a gay guy who sort of has a large conservative fan base, leans on the right side of the aisle, whatever, I've seen this shift in sort of the acceptance of gays and lesbians in America, but particularly on the right. Like, I've seen it shift super hard to the right over the past couple of years because, like I said, the pride stuff has been shoved down everybody's throat. From kids' TV to the schools to everything. And I think that there's a backlash of sorts against the whole LGBTQIA agenda. And I think that the vast majority of regular gays and lesbians are kind of wrapped up in something that really doesn't have anything to do with us anymore because it's very much trans, very much Q, very much, you know, I feel like this gender on Tuesdays and on Wednesdays. I feel like a lot of that nonsense that doesn't really have much to do with gays and lesbians. And so he mentioned, you know, not the pride as in the biblical sin, but the pride as in pride in your country or whatever. And so, like, I see something like that as it's not something that I disagree with primarily, but I see it as a function of the backlash that a lot of gays and lesbians are kind of seeing right now. Like the far left LGBTQ stuff has nothing to do with the vast majority of us, but we're being wrapped into this.
I say this all the time, this alphabet soup, that the L's, the G's, the B's, the T's, the I's, the A's, the this, you're that. It's like, dude, I'm just a gay dude. And
has nothing
Douglas
to do with
Murray
me.
talks about it so eloquently. Dave Rubin, also a good friend of mine, he's like, yeah, I'm just a gay guy. I'm not a trans this person that. Dave Chappelle, when he did the joke about the gays in the car and the gays the driver and the lesbian and then the trans, you're holding up the whole trip, the tranny thing. There's a lot of problem with that. So do you have this clip? Yes. Okay. This is our friend. She's been on the show before. This is our friend Valentina. This is a quick little 4-second clip. And there's a longer clip. I want to get your response to this because everything you're talking about, this agenda, this LGBTQ, there's a lot of like-minded people like, yeah, I'm not into this. Here's her campaign message. She says, quote unquote, don't be weak and gay. 25-year-old GOP candidate Valentina Gomez goes viral for a hilarious video. There's a 4-second, and we'll play the other video. Go ahead.
In America, you can be anything you want. Don't be weak and gay.
Okay, she says in America, you can be anything you want. Don't be weak and gay.
Yeah.
I want to get your response to that. But here is her, what the TV news people had to say about her campaign. There's a YouTube video of Who is Valentina. You remember Valentina was on the show?
Yeah, I remember
I'll
her.
actually show a clip of her in a second. Play it starting at 15 seconds.
Names they're grooming kids. The St. Louis City resident is running for Secretary of State in Missouri.
Tonight, First Alert 4's John Kipper is hearing from the woman, setting books ablaze and vying for your vote.
This is what I will do to the grooming books when I become Secretary of State.
Valentina Gomez, burning books she says grooms kids. The books in question, Queer, Ultimate LGBTQ Guide for Teens, and Naked, Not Your Average Sex Encyclopedia. It's a strong political statement garnering many negative reactions.
It's extremely problematic, and that type
Go to the next clip, if you don't mind. It starts at 124. So this couple's complaining, but she's running for Secretary of State. She's burning books. She's talking about grooming kids. She's saying the LGBTQ agenda. She's talking about DEI. She's talking about critical race theory. And then she says this.
I'm fighting the political machine. I am not backed by any special interest.
And didn't hold back.
Let's get, excuse my language, together and pull up our pants and fight back.
Gomez is running for Missouri Secretary of State. Their main job is running elections. But also, they're in charge of state funding for libraries.
I'm going to defund all the libraries that are having LGBTQ, DEI, critical race theory material in the children's section.
And while the
So, Rob, I want to play you a couple things. So, she was on the SOSCAST. I don't know if we can just show an image of her. If you can find that. She was talking about her ideal kind of man. We got to wrap up. But just play this clip real quick. And then I want to get your thoughts on everything.
I'm in charge of everything. I mean, I like being in charge of everything, but you know, like deep down, you want to be the submissive one, kind of.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
I love it.
How about you, Valentina?
What I've noticed is that there's a difference between liberals and conservatives in regards to them being decisive and the other part being completely undecisive in everything in regards to their life, to their objectives, to their values, and they let society fill those gaps. They cannot fill those gaps by themselves. They cannot figure that out because they expect somebody else to fulfill them. And in regards to conservative men, badass guys.
She likes those badass guys. Speaking of badass guys, conservative men, there's another article. I'm teeing you up, Rob, about being that you were former military.
Yeah.
If the military has gone too woke, I'm sure you've addressed this.
Absolutely.
Critics claim that the U.S. military is now driven by ideological imperatives, pushing a far-left political agenda, leading to compulsory exercise that devalue the American historical experience and foster contempt for American traditional values. Rob, we started this segment with Harrison Butker, just basically saying, you know, a man's a man, a woman's a woman, traditional values, God, church, this thing. And now it's bled into a friend of ours who's been on the show, running for Secretary of State of Missouri, burning books, LGBTQ agenda. The military's too woke. Nobody can probably answer this better than you. What's your greater context of what's happening in America today?
In terms of the military being woke?
Just everything that's going on in America, families, agenda, schools, military.
What's going
There's
on
been
right
this push of the left.
So what's going on right now is this. We're living in an era that we are seeing a shift that is going to the right. It's going a little harder right than I think that people expected it to because the left has just gone so crazy. And there's a lot of people on both sides of the aisle that are just caught in the middle. I'm caught in the middle sometimes as this gay guy that is like right-leaning conservative. Like I voted for Trump in 2016, or excuse me, in 2020, that whole thing, like I'm a conservative social media, political commentator, celebrity, whatever you want to call it. But the culture is just shifting really far to the right. So when you play that video from the person that is running for Secretary of State, I think that she's definitely running for a social media following. I don't know if this is somebody that's running for elected office, because nobody that's, like, let's be real. Like, somebody that's serious about elected office is probably not going to do that kind of campaign and make those kind of videos. But it's a shift towards the right, because I think that a lot of people, and look, there's people that follow me, there's people that have no issue with me being gay or whatever, but they're saying things like, well, don't be gay, don't be weak and gay, stuff like that, because people have been told for so long that they can't say something. People have been told for so long that they're problematic. If they think this, if they say this, if they believe this, then they're going to go super far in that direction. And that's what I've seen happen on the right. That's what I've seen happen with the conservative movement and all that stuff. So it's just really indicative of the fact that this country is shifting very hard to the right. And there's a lot of people that have been pushing a lot of agendas that are not going to like where this country is headed, but it's kind of their fault.
Okay. Well, you know, they say, thank you. We're going to end that right there.
Yeah.
So last segment, the happy ending. And you teed this up perfectly. You know, they say that politics is downstream of culture. We just talked about the LGBT and the military going too woke and what's going on in critical race theory and this shift to the right. On some regards, there's a massive shift to the right, tribalism. And then on the other end, there's a massive shift to the left. It's almost like a response. And I always say this all the time. Americans are basically bipolar. Every 4 to 8 years, we're like, we'll take the Republican. No, we'll take the Democrat. No, we'll take the Republican. We'll take the Democrat. And 90% of the people are not in that camp. 10% of people are like, I'll do Obama. Okay, I'll do the black guy. I'll do Trump now. I'll go back to Biden. I'll go Trump. We're bipolar. And it's nothing more evident of how broken and how crazy our system is than the Jerry Springer shit show that is happening in Congress today. And it takes a lot of things to go viral in a congressional hearing, but this one took the cake. So, and it has all your favorite hits. AOC on the left, Marjorie Taylor Greene on the right, and a new woman, Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett of Dallas, Texas, who is alleging that Marjorie Taylor Greene is absolutely racist. But we're going to play this first clip. They're trading insults. There's eyelashes going on. There's bleach blonde butch bodies going on. See if you can find the first video I sent you. I believe it's about 1.5 minutes long. Let's play that, and then we're going to respond.
Okay, give me a second.
So, again, AOC, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett, they're in a hearing, and they just start dissing each other. Let me know when you're ready.
It's ready.
Okay, go ahead. 1.25.
You know what we're here for? You know we're here about
I don't think you know what you're here for.
Well, you the one talking about.
I think your fake eyelashes are messing up.
No, ain't nothing.
Hold on.
Listen.
Order.
Mr. Chairman,
That's beneath
would
even
you
your
please
history.
regain order of your committee?
Order.
Order, and I would like to move to take down Ms. Green's words. That is absolutely unacceptable. How dare you attack the physical appearance of another person?
Are your feelings hurt?
Move her words down.
Aw.
Oh, girl, baby girl.
Oh, really?
Don't even play.
Baby girl, I don't think.
We are gonna move, and we're gonna take your words down.
I second that motion.
You agree to strike your words?
That went a little too far.
Ms. Green agrees to strike her words.
I believe she
Chair
needs to
recognizes-
apologize.
Bronx
No, no,
came
no.
out. Okay, hold on. Then after Mr. Perry's going to be recognized, then Ms. Green I'm not has 4 minutes and apologizing. 21
Well, then
seconds.
you're not
reserve the right to
striking your
object.
words.
I am
You're
not
not
apologizing. Now let's go.
I'm just curious, just to better understand your ruling. If someone on this committee then starts talking about somebody's bleach blonde, bad built butch body, that would not be engaging in personality.
The man looks a lot.
A what?
It looks
A what?
The undercover shade.
I don't think that's a part of the...
Okay.
The man.
So, and believe me, it got even uglier after this. The guy who was in the middle right there. By the way, the first time I saw the video, I thought that she was talking about him. If you can show an image of that guy that was leading the committee, I forget his name, but I know Jamie Raskin, the Democrat, was also next to him. Do you know who that was right there?
That was Jamie Raskin.
No, that was Jamie Raskin that was next to him.
Oh.
I thought she said the bleach blonde. I thought she was talking about that dude. He goes saying, look, I'm hard of hearing, and I don't know what. But anytime someone says, what? Like Lil Jon, what?
Can you say that name again, Adam?
No, just pull up the picture of the guy. He's like, I'm hard of hearing. You're saying eyelashes. You're saying beach blonde body.
you know-
you're talking. I don't know what the hell's going on here. So here, Rob, I'm gonna come to you last since you're the MVP here. Congresswoman Crockett is claiming racism because of the eyelash comment. She's saying, I absolutely think that she only did it to be racist towards me. It's a racist trope, something to do with the eyelashes. AOC saying, oh, baby girl, don't you, baby girl, all this. Let me hear your best baby girl.
Baby girl.
That's it? That's all
Oh,
got?
you can do better than
can
that.
do better
Come
than that.
Baby girl.
No,
Okay.
shake
Let
that
me hear your
swim of
best
that
baby
neck.
girl.
Baby girl.
Yeah, there you go.
Let me hear your best.
Baby girl.
Dina?
Baby girl.
Okay, she had
That
it
was
myself.
it. That was it.
Yeah, Rob, take it away.
Baby
You got it to
girl.
the head. There you go.
Rob just did the best baby girl. Then AOC starts claiming that John Fetterman doesn't know what he's talking about. He goes, what is going on with this Jerry Springer show I think we have an article of those two. By the way, he's a Democrat from Pennsylvania. He described that this hearing was off the rails. This House Oversight Committee was worse than the Jerry Springer show, asking if they would proudly show their actions to an 8th grade civics students. AOC then responded that I stood up for my colleague. You should stand up for the same. Both sides thing. There's bullies. There's this. There's eyelashes. There's tropes. There's butch bodies. There's racism. I just want to know from you guys down the line here. Dina, you go first. Is this more racism? Is this women catfighting? Or is just this more evidence of hyper-partisan political shit show that is America today? Which of those three?
As a
Racism?
Puerto Rican woman from New York, I think it's an embarrassing catfight is what it is.
Okay.
I think that when you cannot improve your argument, that's when the insults kind of come into play. So I think that all three of these women are very articulate women.
So you're going with
it's just a catfight.
Maria, what do you think?
Catfight.
Catfight.
Yeah.
Catfight.
I think their cycles clicked up because they're around each other a lot.
Oh, forget about the women's and the cycles.
I can't say that.
Okay.
It's the truth. A lot of women.
I think that's not classy. That's super ratchet, and please don't do that in public.
It's embarrassing.
It's
Ratchet.
Embarrassing.
Nati, what do you got?
I think your second one and the last one.
Catfighting, hyper-partisan political shit show, but not racist.
No.
Okay.
I think her saying that is racist. Now you're saying only the black girls have
Rob,
lashes.
final word. You're in the political space.
Look, catfight, hyper-partisan, but also when I see that clip, I just see those nice white men trying to rob America in peace. And then the cat fight just all of a sudden just blows everything up. And now Jasmine Crockett is selling merch based on this. You have to understand, like, when you get into what Congress is and what politics really is, it's like these people are grifting. Like, she's selling merch. They're getting viral moments. It's like the WWE at this point, and all of these people are idiots.
Unbelievable. So here's what I'll tell you in order. Hyper-partisan political shit show number one. Marjorie Taylor Greene, who was probably the face of right-wing women at this point, more than Lauren Boebert, no doubt. So, she was wearing a MAGA hat at the State of the Union. She's out there. She's looking for clips. That's what it is. Just like we talked about in the last segment, when you're running for office, you're looking for clips, especially if you're a representative, because you're no longer a senator. You're not representing a state. You're representing a district. Number two, the women, the cat fighting and all that. And I actually don't think it's racist, and I'll tell you why. I see black women, I see white women, I see Latin women, I see Asian women with the most ridiculous eyelashes. Looks like tarantulas coming out of your faces. Ladies,
the spiders.
There's small, medium, large, extra large, and tarantula. Stay with the small, stay with the medium, chill out with these eyelashes. But this is what's going on in America today. And it coalesced with eyelashes, butch bodies, bleach blonde hair, cat fighting, political shit show, America. That's it. Anyway, guys.
I've never seen men more lost in a situation. They're like,
I can't hear. Anyway, guys, what a show. Thank you guys for being here. Ladies, it was emotional. It was funny. It was political. It was cultural. Follow the money. The feds. The feds are watching. It's like that song, I always feel like somebody's watching me.
No, I'm kidding.
And I can't get no privacy. Watch out for the Diddy remix coming out. Dina, you're the bomb. Look in that camera. Tell the people where to find you.
Everywhere on social media, D.NU, 3 H's. It's just Dina, phonetically spelled. Tickets to all my shows at the link in my bio on Instagram. And I'll probably be at a comedy show near you very soon.
Okay. Maria Prieto, your Venmo, and where do people find you?
They can find me everywhere in social media as Maria Prieto official with only one F as in Spanish.
Okay. And Zainab, your new nickname here is Ron Burgundy because you're always keeping it classy. Stay classy, Pakistan.
Well, guys,
where can people find you?
I do want to say that I groom women and men. So if you don't want to look crazy with those fake eyelashes and you want some image consulting, please reach out to me on Instagram at ZEE____R. And then you can email me at letzstyle@gmail.com, and I can be your groomer and a personal stylist.
Okay, I'm gonna make a suggestion. Lose the word groom these days and just go style.
That is.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because groom has a
Letzstyle.
bad
That is my
connotation these
email.
days. I was like, oh shit, she's just coming out there telling she's grooming. Okay, Nati, tell the people what's going on in your world,
Yes.
what's going on.
Thank you.
We're looking for people, we're looking for talent. We got.
Yes. Well, thank you guys for tuning in. Happy SOSCAST Day. Today was super phenomenal. You can find me on all socials, Natalia Del Valle. I'm also on Manect. So Manect me. Oh, there I am.
Hey-o.
Manect me if you have any questions or concerns. We're also looking for talent. If you think you are the talent we're looking for, please send me a message. I would love to connect with you. But aside from that, thank you, Sauce, today. And thank you, panel, for coming to have this kind of emotional, sensitive conversation.
Yes.
I think it's super needed. And we got to even have both sides of the spectrum, from, women to even some of the gentlemen's side of things. So thank you guys for tuning in.
Awesome. And what we know about Rob is what? You can't
Cancel
Rob. And you also can't put Rob in a box.
Yes.
Rob, let the people know where to find you.
So if you are here on YouTube, go to YouTube, in that search bar, search Can't Cancel Rob Smith. You can find my page and my channel there. You can also find me on Apple Podcasts, Can't Cancel Rob Smith, Apple Podcasts, iHeart Podcasts, wherever you can find your podcast. TikTok at Can't Cancel Rob. Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Rob Smith Online. Go follow. If you liked all of this, I am even spicier on my own show.
A little caliente in Miami. Well, thank you. You tried to cancel them. You can't do it. You tried to cancel SOSCAST. It's not going to happen.
Not happening.
Thank you, ladies. Thank you, Nat. Thank you, Rob. Thank you to our team that puts in the work. No SOSCAST this Thursday because I'm going to be at the Swamp in D.C. doing some stuff out there. But I'll be back Friday for the PBD podcast with Brian Callen. Thursday on the PBD podcast, we have Dan Bongino coming on. Friday, Brian Callen, and I'm going to be on The Unusual Suspects.
Yes,
with
on
our friend
Friday.
Vinny and Brian Callen.
Yep.
And some special surprises coming your way. Thank you guys for being here. Sub to the channel. And that's it. We'll see you guys next time. We out.